evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. Firefighters rushed to put out a blaze at a home in Laurel this morning. Crews were called to the 13,900 block of Chadsworth Terrace just after 6 a.m. When firefighters arrived, they found a home fully engulfed in flames. Officials say they're currently investigating the cause of the blaze.
Early this morning, units were dispatched for a house fire on Chadsworth Terrace. First units from the Laurel Volunteer Fire Station arrived. Found a house with well involved, with extension to some of the houses surrounding it. Units arrived on scene and made a quick knockdown of the fire, conducted searches in the house, looking for the homeowners, any residents. All searches were negative. One homeowner is evaluated by our EMS units. A total of 4 houses were involved.
And thankfully, no one was hurt. Well, the owners of a Prince George's Marina are hoping to breathe life back into the facility. The U.S. National Park Service owns the Fort Washington Marina, which is very popular with black boaters. It was home to the now shuttered Proud Mary restaurant. The Park Service has announced a new request for proposals. It's looking for a long-term operator to lease and reinvest in the infrastructure. Councilmember Mel Franklin says maintenance on the facility is long overdue.
And so without a long-term operator, no one has really invested in this marina, and so it's wasted away, and that's unfortunate because it was such a great amenity for the residents of this county and this region.
I'm a resident of Prince George's County. I have a boat here. I live about 8 minutes away, and I have options. I could go to another marina, but I demand that we get the services that we pay for. So I'm here for the long term to make sure that this marina it reaches its potential.
And proposals must be submitted no later than Tuesday, September 5th. For more information, you can go to nps.gov and enter Fort Washington Marina RFP in the search bar. A new congressional bill looks to prevent heat strokes among college athletes. It's called the Jordan McNair Student Athlete Heart Fatality Prevention Act and is being sponsored by Senator Ben Cardin. The bill is named after the University of Maryland football player who died of heat stroke after collapsing during practice 5 years ago. The legislation would require college athletic programs to create heat illness emergency action plans. The measure would also require plans be posted online and at athletic buildings. Environmental advocates say Maryland has a severe ozone air pollution problem. Maryland's chapter of the Sierra Club discussed the findings from 2 reports today. One shows that much of the ozone pollution in Maryland is a result of nitrogen oxide, which ultimately comes from vehicle tailpipe emissions. Researchers found that people who suffer from asthma and lung disease, as well as people of color, are negatively impacted by the state's ozone pollution.
We analyzed 2 of those rules, the Advanced Clean Trucks Rule and Heavy Duty Omnibus Rule, which would clean up trucks, Maryland's trucking sector. And so what we found is that the benefits of these 2 rules, by 2050, they would include over $6.6 billion in net societal benefits. We would avoid nearly 88,000 respiratory illnesses, 150 premature deaths, 141 hospital admissions. And not only that, but we would also reduce greenhouse gas emissions from trucks and buses by 28 million metric tons, which could go a long way towards meeting Maryland's climate goals.
And the Sierra Club report says too many Marylanders live in ozone non-attainment areas, which are communities that do not meet the EPA's minimum standard for safe and healthy levels of smog in the air. A pedestrian has died after being struck by a Charles County Sheriff's deputy. It happened at 4 o'clock this morning in the 3600 block of Crane Highway in Waldorf. Investigators say the deputy performed first aid until paramedics arrived, but the person was pronounced dead at the scene. Police have not yet released the pedestrian's name or offered details about the crash. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, we take a look at the Bowie 7th grader who won the National Civics Bee. We'll be back in just a moment.
Considering an online pharmacy? Explore BeSafeRx to find useful information and resources to help you purchase medicines safely online. A safe online pharmacy requires a doctor's prescription, has an address in the United States, has a licensed pharmacist, and is licensed by a state pharmacy board. It's best to stay away from online pharmacies that don't meet these criteria. Discover more helpful tips and resources at BeSafeRx. Go to fda.gov/BeSafeRx.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, police are asking for help in locating a missing person. He is 59-year-old Boris Ray. Police say he was last seen yesterday in the 6400 block of 8th Avenue in Hyattsville. Ray is 6'2", weighs 230 pounds, and was wearing a blue hoodie, blue overalls, and a black hat, as well as white shoes. Anyone who may have seen him is asked to contact police. Well, Metro faces a $750 million budget shortfall, which could lead to dramatic cuts in services. With rail ridership down 50% since pre-pandemic days, rising labor costs, and a lack of dedicated source funding, costs are rising faster than revenues. Now, Metro leaders say if structural financial issues are not fixed, the system could face service cuts that could devastate the region. Those cuts include eliminating 2/3 of bus and rail service, longer wait times between trains, and shutting down service at 9:30 p.m. Well, the hot and muggy summer season is upon us, and that means we'll have occasional stormy weather and power outages that will keep utility workers busy. It also means that many of us will look for ways to stay cool, whether we're working at home or at the office. If you are home, keeping it cool can be expensive, so Pepco is offering some energy-saving tips. Lower your blinds and close your drapes to help keep cool air inside. Also, turn on those ceiling fans to distribute cool air throughout the house. The utility also advises that you use appliances like ovens and clothes dryers during the evening when it's cooler.
Another way they can do it is to set their thermostat a little higher. Department of Energy, Federal Department of Energy Environment recommends 78 degrees. That's a great starting point for you to start from, and then work your way down from there. But each degree, if you can keep it up a little higher, it will allow you to lower that bill about 2% on your 2% savings on your electric bill. If you have the ability to afford it, you can also look at getting one of these smart thermostats. The smart thermostats allow you to adjust your meter from your cell phone or from your smartphone.
And for more energy-saving tips, you can visit pepco.com. A former Maryland correctional officer pleads guilty to federal civil rights violations. 54-year-old Owen Nesmith of Baltimore pleaded guilty to 3 counts of deprivation of rights and making a false statement. All were related to his sexual contact with 3 victims who were incarcerated at the Maryland Correctional Institution in Jessup. Nesmith is the last of 20 defendants charged with federal racketeering and related charges to plead guilty in their roles in the conspiracy. He faces 17 years in prison. The head of the Maryland Port Administration abruptly resigns following a traffic incident. According to Maryland Matters, former Executive Director William Doyle allegedly left the scene of a 4-vehicle collision last week in a state-owned Jeep. Now, his resignation Friday came several days after he was cited for 3 traffic violations related to the June 13th collision in Baltimore. Doyle was appointed by former Governor Larry Hogan in July 2020. The Maryland driver's test is officially back to normal. Driver examiners have resumed in-vehicle testing. The MVA announced yesterday that it's returning to pre-COVID protocols when it comes to the non-commercial driver's test. Examiners will be in vehicles with applicants for both closed course and on-the-road testing. The COVID-19 protocols went into effect back in June 2020 to ensure social distancing. And coming up, we have Simon Buggs with our Wednesday Sports Page Report.
Hey everyone, and coming up in sports, basketball analyst Monica McNutt gives her thoughts on the Washington Wizards trading away shooting guard Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns. Stay tuned.
And just like that, she starts to grin. The spark of something new begins. There's something in the water. On her own, she's in the zone. Resilience building in her bones. There's something in the water. On and off the boat, she flies. A force of nature on the rise. There's something in the water.
Congratulations are in order for a young 7th grader from Bowie. This is Jana, and she won the 2nd annual National Civics Bee this past weekend. The homeschooler competed against 10 other students from across Maryland. Jana's winning top score earned her $1,000 and a brand new laptop. The Civics Bee was sponsored by the Maryland Chamber Foundation, Amazon, and Coppin State University. And the Global Youth Initiative for Transformation, or GIFT Foundation, will host its 2nd annual fundraiser this weekend. It's for the Stephen V. Pierce Memorial Scholarship that supports first-generation African-American college students. CTV spoke with co-founder Mike Skoll about the importance of the GIFT Scholarship Program.
Education is the big key to everything, but everything's not through formal education. Create something where we can breathe into those young people and be able to touch them and pour into them. We provide opportunities for them to go to Disneyland, to go to NBA games, to go on college campuses and not just walk by and say, look at that building, but to go in and sit in on classrooms and speak to professors and see that this is a place for me. One of our elevated initiatives, we have a scholarship at the University of Virginia, which is named the Stephen V. Pierce Memorial Scholarship. We're currently raising an endowment of $100,000, which will, once raised, that endowment will give out the scholarship in perpetuity forever.
And the event takes place this Sunday at Topgolf National Harbor from 1 to 5 p.m. To learn more about the GIFT Foundation, you can visit the website on your screen.
All right, sports fans, it's time for your Wednesday sports page. We'll start with the NBA. The Washington Wizards moved on from their franchise star Bradley Beal by trading him to the Phoenix Suns over the weekend. The move had been a long time coming, as trade rumors for the star have been circulating for quite some time. I got a chance to speak with basketball analyst Monica McNutt, and she gave her thoughts on the trade.
The Bradley Beal trade, frankly, seems like something that is overdue. I mean, I think early in his career, Brad was terrific in DC, but sometime in the last 4, some folks may say 5 years, it has kind of soured and it just has not worked well. The Wizards have been okay kind of existing in purgatory, as to speak. They weren't rebuilding, but they weren't really good enough to compete. And obviously Bradley Beal was the most talented player remaining on the roster. So I was actually pleased when I heard that this move was being made, because to me it signals an earnest rebuild, which is the only way that this team is going to get back into a competitive level in terms of competing for Eastern Conference titles, let alone NBA titles.
McNutt, a DMV native and Georgetown alum, also believes that Beal will fit nicely alongside Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
I'm not really concerned with how Brad fits offensively. All 3 of those guys are cerebral. They are some of the best scorers that this league has to offer. They don't have to be ball dominant to be successful. They can play off the ball. They can play off of one another. And so my concern is less about the 3 of them and what the rest of that roster is going to look like.
Switching to some lacrosse news, the 2023 World Men's Lacrosse Championship kicks off tonight, and there'll be 5 former Terps in action as Team USA features players Jesse Bernhardt, Matt Dunn, Michael Earhart, Connor Kelly, and Matt Rambo. Team USA goes up against Team Canada at 10 o'clock. And that is your Wednesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. And now we're going to get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, more showers, lows near 61. More rain is expected for the rest of the week, with a high around 75 tomorrow, 82 on Friday, and 84 on Saturday. Now for your community calendar. If you are a music lover, the Sunday Sunset concerts are just for you. The last concert this weekend will feature the smooth jazz sounds from David Bach, and the event will be held Sunday at 7 in Allen Pond Park. Don't forget to bring a blanket, snacks, and drinks to enjoy the show. That wraps up CTV News Update, and join us again tomorrow at 4:30. Have a great night.